Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got a couple cool announcements coming. So, one over this last week, GitKraken dropped some cool stuff. So, we're going to take a brief gander down that road really quick. There's some pull requests on the material design projects that the other maintainers been putting out. There's been some chatter on those. So, we're going to see about getting some of those merged. And then I want to circle back and try to publish out the NuGet package for the SourceGen project that we started last time. So, I did a little work on it off stream, realized that I didn't actually need the templating engine in there at all, and I was just being dumb and I could abuse a partial class instead. So, more on that in a moment. Let me grab stuff. I was running a little behind, and I just need to close down a handful of thingies and make sure I'm on the right screens, and I'm going to flip some things, and okay, here we go. So, first up, first up, we have a new blog from GitKraken. And normally I don't cover all of their blog posts, but this one's kind of a big deal. So people have all obviously already heard about the AI bits of everything going, and GitKraken, I appreciate the way that they approach things because they start from somewhat of a more pragmatic approach of what are the pain points that developers are feeling and how can we make them better, right? So, uh, and I will drop this in, but if you follow them on any of the socials, you saw links to this blog post go out. So this is June 16th, which as of the time right now, for anybody watching the recording later, this is 2 days later. But it basically goes over sort of the value proposition that GitKraken is looking to set themselves up for, of rather than just being a Git tool, but actually as a way of getting your code to flow through, right? And obviously AI, agentic flow, and all of that stuff is a big portion of it. Source control is obviously going to be a key portion of this. I mean, after all, agents make mistakes. We have to have versioning. We have to be able to roll back. We have to know what's changing. All of that goodness still exists. But just trying to position themselves as something beyond just a regular Git based tool and source control tool, which they do very well, and something that can be used a little bit more holistically for having all of the bits all the way around. So to that end, we jump forward to the next thing that they announced, Kepler. And I really should have asked them for some feedback on the source of the name. I assume it's based upon the what is the person's name? I'll put it to the side because I don't know what else is going to pull up when I Google this. Uh, the mathematician person. Yes. Johannes Kepler, I believe, if I'm not butchering that. German polymath, astronomer, mathematician, astrologer, natural philosopher, and music theorist. I assume that's who it's based on, but I don't know. I never asked. I should find out. But you'll also see them reference it as this ADE, this Agentic Development Environment. The way I've often used this is effectively GitKraken's equivalent of the GitHub Copilot app, or the rough equivalent. Like everybody's kind of shooting to find that what is going to be the coolest orchestrator, the right orchestration level that we're going for. Everybody wants to find that. This is their attempt down that same path, right? So even though people are going down the same path, they're kind of equivalent, they're kind of different. Yeah, so it's not, they're not completely the same, but they are calling it a agentic development environment for that purpose, to strongly indicate that this is more than just kind of an agent orchestrator, which is oftentimes the way I've classified these. So if you have a GitKraken account, grab it, download it, take off, run it. It looks like this. This is Kepler. Ooh, I didn't check. Does it have Zoom? No Zoom capabilities. Oh, that's a problem. I'm going to have to provide feedback on that. So this is somewhat new. And if the version number isn't obvious from people, the first digits is 0, right? My apologies for not making that bigger, right? First digit's a 0. So that should indicate a little bit that this is something that is being actively worked on. It is, like, I was using it all day and it was working great for me. So I will put it that way. Stable enough to do real work with. There are some kind of rough edges, maybe in some UX things and some interactions and things like that, that I've been putting feedback on. But overall, it works very, very well. Huge slew of features. It is just one long scroll bar through all of these areas. I won't bore people with going through and looking at these. The key thing to note is you sign up with your GitKraken account. And so it pulls all of the stuff that's tied to your GitKraken account. So your connections and your profiles and all of that jazz gets brought in here, and then you are off to the races. Now, their setup here, and I think one of the things that makes this slightly more unique from some of the other ones is this kind of layout up here, this list, this Kanban, and then the console. So list is kind of what you would imagine for interacting with your AI agent. And just to be clear, Kepler works with more than just one AI tool. So unlike some of the other ones where you're kind of locked in on a platform, if you're in a situation where you are maybe using some Claude Code, some Codex, some GitHub Copilot, some Cursor CLI, these are, let's see, dealing with something once I'm free, my squad and I will be pulling up to the stream. See you there. Oh, great. But if you are looking to have something that allows a level of orchestration sort of cross multiple different agent tools, this is a great option, because most of the ones that I've seen out so far kind of lock you in a little bit to their particular platform because that's what they want. Whereas this is sort of meeting you where you're at, being able to say, hey, bring whatever tools you want. We will leverage these. Now, it does mean that it is something in addition to these other tools. And, GitKraken's kind of got their own stuff coming in as well. They're bringing in their own MCP, as well as I'm sure plenty of their AI goodness that we've seen in GitKraken Desktop. But we have and let's actually take this and we'll do a couple things. We'll start with the start from scratch, right? So we can start from scratch, come in here, and this is the brand new task. And you can think of a task inside of this as kind of, or at least the way I've approached it, is kind of a logical unit of work. It doesn't mean a single agent session. It could have multiple agent sessions. It could span multiple repositories. I've really focused on a task as like a logical unit of work. I've picked up a bug. I've picked up a user story. Now, just like a user story might touch a lot of different repositories, hey, I got to do a little infrastructure here. I got to do some back-end changes here, some front-end changes here, right? All of that stuff comes around. That a task encapsulates all of those things. And so we can give it a task and we can give it a prompt. But we can also start from issues or start from pull requests. And so if I go here and I do my GitHub one, and I grab should work. May take it just a moment to load. There's my material design toolkit. Grab that. And then hopefully, hide task. I don't know what that means. Failed to load, reconnect them in settings. Oh, does my provider not connect? Nope. My GitHub, oh. That didn't feel good. No pull requests. Well, that's a lie. Again, we're spinning. We are spinning. Oh. See, can I do this? There we go. We are spinning here. We will see if we load or unload. But we can start from issues, start from pull requests, and start kind of working through those tasks. I'm surprised it's not actually pulling them up. That doesn't give me warm fuzzies. This was working for me earlier today, so I don't know, but I was also not hitting this repository on this provider, so that is very possible. So we can come in here and we'll just go from a blank task instead. But sort of the same thing as what you would expect with like one of the cool things with like the GitHub app that I showed is the ability to quickly spin work trees and be able to say, okay, I want a brand new work tree. I'm going to base it on master. We're going to push back to origin in case you have multiple remotes. Right? This is one of those areas where some of the other apps don't give you this same kind of level of control. And I think that's one of the nice parts about GitKraken is because they started as kind of that source control-y thing. That's, I guess, in the DNA, for lack of better words, right? Of being able to go through and do. They've even got, I don't know if it'll. Oh, I don't have the right voice model installed on this machine. I do have it on the other one, because I've been using this on a couple different machines. The other cool thing that I like is the ability to have some common defaults and just to set them here. This just feels better to me. I don't know why, but having these defaults set up just feels like a nice way of being able to go through and work. Let's see. Review PRs. I want to review this PR to see if it see how it conforms to the material design spec. Right, so you can prompt however we want, and I think in this case, because it's not being nice and letting me start from pull request, what I still can do though is I can go grab that PR, and I'll just grab the branch. Let's see, this tab here, pull requests, collapse some thingies, get my big head out of the way. Let's see, and see, this is Corvin's segmented list box under feet. So I should be able to go here. And if I do this, does it not let me search from non-origin master? Does it limit me to that? Let's see. Feet. Oh no, it's just tying me down to there. Why is that? Video button. Why does this not give me all of the things? Because I can clearly see. Let's see. View pull request. I just want to look at where this is. Corvin's feet. Feet segmented list box style. I do not understand why it is not finding it. Okay. Well, two can play at that game. Let's see. Check out. And now I should have it locally. And now hopefully if I pull this guy back and do it again, it should. Segment. Boy, you are batting 1,000. Review. PR. Just we're gonna do this the hard way then. We're gonna do this the hard way because darn it, I want to show this off, and I will make it fit. Check out the branch for PR 4072. I want to review locally before we do work. So we will just prompt it our way to victory. So you can do prepare if you want to just get in there and start looking without actually launching it. So we can hit launch, but prepare gets us into the views that we can start going through. And this might be good enough to show what I was hoping to. So we have the inside of our list view. One of the underrated buttons is this little plus here, because you'll note we've got this tab where we're going to start our first session, right? So we are off, we are running, we are doing. In this case, I've shelled out to my Copilot CLI, which is where this guy is located. But there's nothing stopping me from starting up another session with another agent. Now, you obviously have to be careful with this. If you start running multiple agents inside the same directory doing things, they will fight with each other. But it does give you a lot of power because oftentimes I will delegate an agent to say, hey, I need a test for this, go work over here. Hey, I need this thing, I want it built over here. So if you're the type of person who kind of likes to micromanage and send off those individual tasks, this gives you a very quick and easy way to do it, and all just kind of interact on top of here. The other thing, going back to these buttons at the top, this Kanban style gives you kind of a new way of viewing your agent sessions, where we can have this same kind of Kanban-y style as the sessions move across between, hey, this is something I'm exploring, I'm actively working on something, now it's in review, now we are done, right? Kind of the way most of our flow works as developers is our work logically kind of goes through those phases, right? Sometimes forward and back, but usually it chunks its way along through there. And in development, in some ways, if you're doing this agentic development style, is really agents off working, right? The one I find myself using a lot more is this Kanban, or this console style, because especially if I'm doing maybe disparate work, right? Things that aren't like, I'm on looking at two different projects, right? Maybe I'm on project A and I'm helping some people build some stuff, and that's working great and everyone's happy. But then, I've got somebody else asking me questions on a completely different project that's unrelated. I'm not spinning an agent session in there, but I might have two separate sessions going side by side. Maybe I've got a research task going for something different, for maybe an email or something, right? Maybe it's not even completely coding related. Normally, that would end up being either separate tabs or separate terminal console windows that maybe I arrange on my screen, because I kind of want them in front of me so I can keep an eye on them. Because it is sometimes nice to keep an eye on where your agents are at and see where they're going. And this console view gives that to you, which is kind of cool, as a way of being able to just sort of stack those things there. Now, I will say this sort by is kind of important. I think it defaults to last activity, or maybe I clicked that at some point. I have been sorting them by like creation time or otherwise. If you do last activity, what I found is, because last activity, if you've got agents pausing and asking you questions, whoever asked or whoever paused last gets moved to the front, right? Because they are the latest activity that popped up. And so it's the latest thing to go through and look at. Some people that may jive with the way you work. For me, it caused more anxiety and confusion than it did help. So I like to put these things in an order, lay them out the way I want, and darn it, don't move. Just stay there, and I will close you and open new ones as I want. But it gives you a nice, easy way of being able to jump in and do this. And if we jump back here, the other thing, just like we've seen before, we've got open folder, open terminal, right? Nothing's hidden from you, right? We can see where the work trees are. This is a configurable setting for the root of where things are at. So if you need to jump into the folder, nothing's stopping you there. More importantly, you can just, I find myself, I still love my GitKraken for all the things. Being able to just click the button and go straight to GitKraken at that point in the work tree and have all of my tools work seamlessly together is really nice. You'll note the agent session shows up here. Technically, any Copilot session shows up here. So that interaction feels very smooth and nice as far as being able to go through and do this. And normally, if this was my other one, I would have a create command here, and I oftentimes will do things like Visual Studio, and then let me go and grab my dev env. I was hoping to show off, I got access to the canary ring on VS, and unfortunately, let's see, and then I want this to be, let's see, we're going to do quotes just in case, repository path, like that, create, and now I can do launch. Oh, that is, yeah, go away. I need to edit this. This guy goes in quotes, I believe, to deal with that. Save, launch, and now we have Visual Studio up and going at our work tree, and we can take off and do all of the needful, right? Which, again, those types of little things just to make the flow work well, I think are amazing. Okay, Now, for the actual meat and potatoes, is I wanted to take a brief look at this. So this was something that Corvin's had messaged us about, this idea of wanting a segmented control. Because what we currently have inside of the library isn't a lot. It is the if you want sort of this look, like there's not actually a great material design control for this per se. And I think I had, where was it? Sorry, I'm trying to find an old chat here. Yeah, so the segmented button, I think, is the closest. I think this is the closest thing to what is actually in the material design spec, which this kind of handles that, but kind of doesn't, right? Like it gets us close. And so I told Corvins, hey, if you want to throw together a sample PR, we can take a look at it and we will see how she goes. So we're going to start with the demo app, I think. Take a brief gander down this road. Ba-bum. Come on, go ahead and launch. Hey, cute little pets. That one of them is behind my big head, is making cute little symbols. Okay, I guess I probably should have looked at where this is underneath toggles. Okay, kind of makes sense. Let's take a quick gander down here. So this is the guy here. And that's not bad. So it's important to note this is in the same, so, and probably why he put it here, is these are in the same vein as this list box control. So if we look at what these things look like, these are a segmented list box, right? Which is kind of cool. What does this look like? So item container style, selective focus background. Like that it doesn't feel bad. I will say that. It looks nice. And because it's just a list box, I mean, the usage of it seems good to me. Let's see, this guy here is a chip. And this is all, because where's that border coming from? Is that coming from, yeah, that's just the border on the list box. So that's not bad. With a corner radius on it. Great. Because I think these probably have the same thing. So, oh, it must default to having a corner radius. I'm curious. So the one thing I'm noticing is seems like there's a slightly larger corner radius here than here. Maybe that's okay. The difference here is it basically goes the same way. So honestly, selection there is worse. Interesting. Wonder why this one's flat list box. I wonder why this one's selection doesn't show. Probably a different problem. Not related to this. Okay. So usage seems fine, so I'm not going to concern myself too much about the demo app. Let's see. This is the Material Design 3 demo app. So let's take a look at the actual implementation and get my big head out of the way there. Okay, so list box, line 963. We're going to do this in Visual Studio, I think. I think we're just going to look at it in Visual Studio. Probably just as easy. Themes, list box, 963. Okay. Segmented list box. So background. This is list box item. List box further down. Yeah, 1077. I don't know why I scrolled through GitHub just to find the row in Visual Studio because I could have just scrolled down in Visual Studio. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. Segmented list box uses the chip background. Ooh. Hmm. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm tempted to do a separate brush for the background here rather than reusing the same one. There's the one to set the individual item styles. Let's see, there is a border. The other thing that I'm noticing, and it probably doesn't show up here, is that we've lost the scroll viewer that would normally exist from a list view or a list box. I'm sorry. That gives me a bit of pause there. I do like how he made a good effort to go through and forward in all of the relevant properties because that bites us all the time. So that seems fine. Let's see, vertical alignment center. I don't know that we actually need that. And horizontal alignment left. I'm tempted to drop both of these as well. I don't know that we want quite that. Well, I guess it depends, right? Because these things are also somewhat being hard coded to the horizontal layout. Let's look at the item. The background transparent makes sense. List box border makes sense. Thickness 0 forwards the cursor from the attached property. Foreground for the brush, which makes sense, though I wonder if this is needed. I delete this. Hang on, I think the hot reload is not being hip to this. I don't know that you need the let's see here. Toggle. Oh yeah, we need to tool toggle list box. Tool toggle list box. We need to get rid of these ones down here. Um, yeah, I guess the foreground is needed on the individual items. Okay. Let's relaunch that just because I don't trust hot reload on that. Let's see, border, template by name, background, border thickness, toggle. Okay, corner radius, list box item assist, corner radius. That seems fine. Horizontal content alignment. Ancestor type items control. Interesting. I wonder why items control and not list box. I'm surprised at that. Okay, so what do we got here? Some visual states, being able to go through and toggle, but ultimately there is a border around the outside, border with a margin of 4. Do we want that margin of 4? Because I assume that margin is here. I'm tempted to do something more of this nature. Setter, property, margin, and then this is Corvin's. We can push back. Let's see, value. For some reason my cursor is just completely gone, and I do not know why. That's a lovely feature. And then this here, what are you doing? Not being able to see my cursor is a really obnoxious thing. And then we template binding that there. I think that gets us the same behavior. The advantage of doing it this way is if anybody makes a derived style, they can then change the margin off of the 4. Because I don't think that is visually going to change anything. Oh, that did change something. Interesting. Wait a minute. So if I just do 4, right, I'm going to hit save. Hot reload. Was that, am I making it up? That looks like it got bigger when it did that. Relaunch. Izzy, Merry Christmas. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are reviewing a new style from Corvin's. He gave me a heads up it was coming. So, but we are taking a look at it. Maybe it is the same. This feels large now that I look at it. Why do I not have a cursor? I might have to reboot Visual Studio. This is getting real annoying. Let's see. If I do that, because does this, it doesn't have a based on. This is just a brand new one. Try this again. Let's try this again. If I take it completely off, so it's just that border around the edge. Okay, so that's probably fine. I am somewhat tempted to drop it down to a 2 though. Wow, the fact that I don't have a cursor in here is just, I'm gonna close the file. Do I have a cursor here? I've got a cursor here. Let me reopen the file. Now I've got a cursor. Hallelujah. Boy, not being able to see where you are typing is a real bummer. Okay, down to 700 and something or another. And then did I? There we are. 900, not 700. Okay, I was like, man, I feel like I missed something. Okay, I feel like something of that nature is going to be slightly better. So it's a little thinner around there. Feels a little bit nicer. I'm going to relaunch just to make sure that it applies to both, because I expected it to apply to both of the first two and it only showed up on the first one. Padding's a little big, but it's in a style, so I'm a little less concerned. See here. Yeah, so it applied to both of them now. I feel like that's a better level of compaction. It feels more akin to what we get here as well. Though I suppose they're probably both using the same. Okay, so there's that. Okay, let's go here. I don't know that we want, let's see, not on the item, but on the list box itself. I don't think we want to be setting horizontal alignment, and I don't think we want to set vertical alignment on these. I think we want to let them let callers define those. And I think in most cases they probably will. Okay, so let's go back and let's try that one more time. Make sure that that looks reasonable. Oh, those ones are now vertically set up. That kind of makes sense though. I think we changed that on the demo though, and I got to make sure we fix it in both places. So let's go here, toggles, and then segmented. So I think we're just going to set it here. Vertical alignment center. Vertical alignment center, and that should bring those two guys back in line. Great, great, great. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Let's see here. Let's go up to the free demo on the toggles. Segmented, and we're going to do the same thing here because I imagine it's going to be, I know we haven't launched the Material Design 3 one, but okay, so that goes there, that goes there. That looks good. Okay, and then this one here gives me pause because I'm a little hesitant to use the chip background. Let's go take a look at the our resource generator, and on my icon palette or my color palette. No. Where is my delete brushes? Where is my theme colors? There we go. Like, I know I've got this. So let's see. Chip dot background. Okay, so this is black 50 and white 50 on each of these. And I am interested in looking at my list box because I feel like I would rather leverage a list box. We don't really have one, do we? We have a list box item. We not have list box. Oh, don't regex search it. We do not have a list box brush at all. I am very, very tempted to just do an alternate key and change that. I'm trying to decide if I want them kept together or separate, because what we can do here inside of this is I can do wow. Let's maybe not type. I clearly have not had enough Mountain Dew to warrant typing ability. That seems to be a problem. Let's see. List box. Segmented background. Look here. All of our background brushes. What are the our background? I'm just trying to decide how many of these are themed or styled. So it seems like when we do it styled, it's actually here. So that's probably a better indication that I should do that and not have segmented be separate. I think is what that means. That does feel a little better. So it ends up being that. I think I would rather do that than otherwise. So let's gen that. Resource generation, and then gen brushes. Do the needful. Now we have a bunch of brushes. And now I can take this guy and I can go over here. Come on. And then we can do that. And that makes me feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy. The last question is, do we care about the scroll viewer? That is a tough call. Right? Let's see. Virtualization is already turned off because this is a stack panel, not a virtualizing stack panel. Right? If we did virtualizing stack panel, we could get there. But this thing is somewhat designed to not have a lot of items. I don't know that you would, I can't say that you would never use it for a lot of items. Maybe people do want to do that. Well, I think we're going to keep what we've got here. Why don't it, hello? Why doesn't it show changes? Am I in a, where am I? Oh, I'm in, how did I end up here? I am not in the work tree. I am in my main, I'm in my main work tree. Lovely. So I'm actually over here. Excellent. That's a fun one. I don't know how I got here. Let's see here. Let's just check these changes. Demo app looks good. Oh, let's check the demo 3 app really quick just to make sure. I assume it's going to look basically the same. But we should make it match. We should make it match. So if we go here, all goes. Yeah. So looks the same. Vertical alignment's good. Okay. That's fine. So we will consider that good. Let's see. These are the generated. Don't care about generated stuff. Theme colors, we are just, rather than using the chip background, we're going to give it its own name. Gens up tests for me to make sure everything works. We're going to do that and push it. And then I think we're going to go out here and we're going to, let's see, push some changes to it. Overall looks good, and I think I am good merging it. One thought I had was on this style not supporting scrolling. Sure if one would use it back to that behavior. So we'll leave that there for now. I think it's probably good, but that's my one hold. Okay, let's check Nikolai's one. Let's see. Fixes 3962. Yes. This is the one he messaged about. Yeah, of changing out that behavior. Okay, because I think I implemented this bug. So thank you, Nikolai, for fixing. Ensure correctly inherit color zone assist properties the same way normal tab items do. We'll make the text a little bigger. It's a little too big. This change binds the foreground and mode properties of the tab items corresponding to providing consistent theming. I suspect this was unintentionally missed. In the huge PR 21, yeah. I guess this was me. Probably me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Why is line 1 showing up? Do I have white space diff turned on? Hide white space. I do not know why this is showing up. Huh. That is interesting. Okay, so let's see. Setter, background transparent, foreground, fall back, color zone assist mode. I'm surprised color zone assist background is being set to transparent rather than being forwarded. Let's check it out. Let's see. Oh, it was probably when I pulled Corvin's branch inside of GitKraken that I did that. I bet you that's what happened. Let's see. Check out. Then I want to launch the demo app. You implemented a bug? Never. I implemented an unexpected feature that didn't work properly. Or, well, if we define bug as doesn't do the behavior that is expected, then I definitely implemented a bug. Because I have, there's a Microsoft engineer that I've worked with a bunch that is the way he defines a bug is whenever the software doesn't do what the user expects. And in this case, the user for this library is developers. Why is our chip one not having an icon, but the rest of them do? I'd have to look at that. And the reason he defines it that way is because a bug can exist in more than just the code. The bug could exist in the requirements documentation, right? The bug could have existed at the design resources, not always just a code problem. Let's see, tabs. Do we have tabs on this one? The navigation rail is probably the key one to look at here. Because as long as this doesn't break anywhere else, I'm probably good just merging it. Why do we have these things here and then... Maybe it was what the user thought they expected and now they've just changed their mind. Yeah, that is always a possibility. Does navigation bar leverage it as well without text? Custom size. Why do we have these edit buttons floating around here? Like, what is the point of those buttons? Don't know the points of these edit buttons. Oh, I am noticing that the mouse wheel scroll breaks when you're over these. Very similar to another bug that we just fixed. So that's annoying. Let's go to the Material Design 2 demo. Check that one there. Because here, I believe we actually have a dedicated, well, there's the navigation rail, so we'll check this one. Make sure that all of these work properly. Which it looks like they do, even with the extra stuff on there. Just fine. That goes there, that works there. Okay. Where else do we have tabs? We have it on the color tool here. It's kind of obnoxious the way this tab sizing works. They need to change that up. Because that is kind of obnoxious having the content jump like that, but like it makes sense why it's doing it. It's just annoying. Okay, where else do we have tabs? Color zones? No. One here. And this is where we've got the color zone assist. Okay. That looks good. That looks good. Let me just check on the bug report in question. Color zone assist mode custom. Show selected background to color zone assist primary dark. Everything is fine. And so they switched to custom background foreground. And this is what they expected, and they didn't work, which I think the crimson one here is a representation of this. Custom foreground background. Let me just make sure it looks good. It should do the same thing in light. Good. I think that matches. So that seems fine to me. This looks good, so we will approve, send it. And I think the reason I'm now recalling from Nikolai's message why the transparent is correct here, because the color zone assist background is set on the parent, and so transparent just lets it float through. So that actually is working the way one would expect. And then squash merge, and send it. Okay, so there's that. There's that. I'm going to trust Corvin's looks to have reviewed this one. Vertical centering of data grid cells produce extra border lines. What's the fix here? I feel like I agree with Corvin's assessment that without more information, this doesn't appear to have. This doesn't appear to have fixed the repro. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit for a minute. Okay, okay. So there's that. There's that. Now I want to show off the Sourceweaver stuff that I did. Okay, we're gonna grab latest master, and we're going to switch gears just a little bit because I got really excited about this. Okay, anybody who grabbed a link to this last time, your link is probably broken. In fact, I might need to let me check and see. Did I? I think I fixed this up so that I didn't need all of this, but I may be wrong. You have a fork of this add. Wow, that's kind of ridiculous. Move origin, the edit origin. It's probably because I renamed this thing shared settings locked remove all use. Yeah. Okay. Because I went through and renamed the project out on GitHub, which was going to break things because it had SDK in the name and I didn't want that. So, here's the repo. Here's the premise. Source generators are awesome. Source generators are difficult to author. So imagine this. And my goal is kind of to have my sample re-implement some of what you would get with the community toolkit. Not necessarily to the same level of complexity, because I think to do a generic source generator that is used by a large number of people, you probably don't use this SDK. Because I don't know that it's ever going to hit that. Like, you're going to need enough complexity around it, because one of the hard parts with source generators is you are working with the Roslyn API, the raw AST. And that means that as the language evolves, you have to consider how new language syntax may affect your source generator, because depending on how you are triggering or outputting new language syntax could break you, or there could be code paths that you expect your source generator to fire on that no longer exist or don't work properly, right? Those are things that can happen. So the idea is that for localized source generators, people who don't actually need to handle all possible use cases because it's, hey, I am just building this inside of my app. I don't need it for everything, right? So the idea here is that, well, maybe what we can do is we can change this a little bit. We can go through and say, rather than making it difficult, for those more simplistic cases, we can make a more simplistic implementation. So, did I get it open? Yeah, so we're going to look at it here. I'll show you what I did. I did all kinds of stuff. What? Something's wrong. Something is wrong. I am going to torch this. And I am going to, I don't need that. Oh, something cool GitKraken desktop added. You'll see how the text, it grays out just a little bit when you click off your terminal so you understand where your keyboard input's going. I really like that. I really, really, really like that. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete the directory locally. I'm going to close this down because something's holding on to the folder. There we go. Was Kraken, bad Kraken. And then we are going to reopen the Kraken and we're just going to reclone because my renaming of the project, I'm sure, has broken all kinds of stuff. So sourceviva, clone de repo. Clone de repo. There we go. Looks more like how I left it. Okay. This looks a little more akin to how I left it. When did you just open? Insiders. Good. Okay. Okay, so why do I still have this? I thought I killed it. Did I not delete this? Maybe I just obsoleted it and didn't kill it. So I don't know that I need as complex of a source generator setup. But continuing my experiment, right? You have, this is your app you're building. You realize, hey, I really want to source gen this thing away, right? And have this work. And here's the cool thing. You can see the red squiggle right now. We're going to compile. We're going to do the needful. And you'll note build success. And here in a minute, the little squiggles will catch up to us. There we go. No more squiggles, right? So the question is, where did the squiggles go? Because for partial properties, you have to provide a second implementation of this. And what we have is we have created, as part of our sample, our own generator app. We can get rid of this too. I don't need that no more either. Because this is what you would end up needing to do if you wanted to make a source generator for your own project anyway, is you'd probably make some sort of generators project. You'd probably do the referencing and set it up, right? But writing your generator shouldn't need to be hard. And so most of the time, my thing that I would posit is that what you want to do is declare yourself some sort of attribute, in this case a property attribute of what we're gonna trigger on, because you need some sort of trigger. And I don't think this SDK is ever going to cover the complexity of source generators. I'm aiming to hit an 80% case because most of the time that's all you need. And nothing stops you from adding a full source generator in this project as well, right? So if you need the power of full incremental source generator, just make an incremental source generator. You already have the project for it, right? There's nothing that locks you into just doing this. But in this case, the SDK then comes with this base class, and this is what I didn't realize before, is I can just partial it. The only reason I was struggling before is because I wanted this thing to generate the attribute too, and I realized, no, I don't need it to generate the attribute. In fact, I should make you write the attribute and use a base class that I provide. And so this thing is very simplistic at the moment, but it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And it deals with the the parsing the stuff out. And then the key thing that it's doing, and I'm probably going to change this maybe a little bit to expose some better APIs, but it converts it into a much friendlier looking object, right? So you end up getting this property context that you can see something about the property name, something about the property type. You can then call add class member, which is what this generator does to say, hey, I would like to add a member to the class that this thing that we are generating from. Because most of the time when you find the attribute, you don't want to have to think about creating a partial class that matches the original one's name in the right namespace and named properly, all of that jazz. No, like that's not what you want to think about. You want to think about, I found my property now, or I found my attribute on a property. Now what? What do I generate? Right? And so it gives this more friendly setup, which I think is actually what I want in most cases, is something friendly like this. I think I do want to change these context properties to actually expose the underlying Roslyn object itself. That way there's kind of an escape hatch. If somebody's like, boy, I really want to use your stuff, but you didn't give me access to insert thingy here, right? I kind of want to leave an escape hatch for that, just because there's so much there, and there is some level of wisdom in giving people escape hatches, because people will use things beyond what you expect, right? So that's the setup. That's all it is. And then how this ends up working is over here, I have my property attribute source generator, which is the abstract base that you derive from. It's doing the, I'm going to call I incremental generator. I did make it so that you had to put the attribute here, just in the event that somebody doesn't want to use it for C#. I don't know how I feel about that. I may kill that, only because I'm generating this. Actually, you know what? I think I just convinced myself. I am going to put this in the partial that I generate, because I'm generating the other half of this partial. So if we look here underneath analyzers, and I get my big head out of the way, down here, I can see that, and this is what I was fighting before, right? Is I have, what? Where's the other half of my, oh, it's not being generated here. Oh, it's entirely in the base class. Interesting. I thought I was generating a partial across it. Enforce extended analyzer rules true. Okay, so I do want to do, do I want that here? Maybe I should generate the partial. Did I set that up here? Did. I did. Maybe I should leave that up there for the moment. I think I'm going to leave it up there for the moment. I may have my SDK generator, because this thing isn't, even though it's going to contain a source generator, it's not actually going to be a source generator project. It's kind of violating that rule. So we're going to leave it here. Okay. Okay. But that means that I don't need the generator of generators here, right? This thing doesn't need to exist, at least not yet. I may need a generator at some point, but I don't need this here, and I don't need this. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to kill this, and we're going to kill this, because neither of those really need to exist. Okay. Now, what I would like to do, though, is I would like to try to get this to publish. So that is the name of the game, is right now. So make it work, make it right, make it fast. So this is the make it work part. I want this thing building and shipping and publishing. And so here I want, the big question is how we're going to version this sucker, right? Like that's always the thing. And I don't remember what my config does for the versioning on this. So we are going to check. So it is just going to run .NET Pack on the project, which is probably fine. Probably fine. So if that is going to run there, I think what I want to do is I just want to set this up here. And I want to, I think what I really like doing is 0.0.1, right? And so we are just going to start here. And then if I grab here and I just go here, I think what I want to do is I just want to start running these pat commands locally just to make sure they work. And then once I'm happy with them, then we'll full send it. So we're going to do, why is this doing .NET root forwards? Oh, this is outputting to that location. Got it. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to get rid of the, I'm intentionally going to not do the output directory and not do the no build so that it builds every time. I'm going to launch this sucker. And then I want to look at what it outputs. I may actually do -o working directory. Just so that I get it in the right place. Let's see. Icon file, NuGet icon does not exist in the package. We need an icon. Okay, this is what AI is good for. I need a NuGet package icon for my for my new we'll call it a library. It is a library for doing C# source generators. Help me come up with some design ideas for what the logo should be. This is what you are good here, because I suck at design. Recursive generator symbol. A gear inside a gear with the inner gear slightly rotated or glowing. Don't really like it. The Roslyn node syntax tree motif. A simplified syntax tree branching outwards. That looks too big. I like a more modern-y look. The bootstrapper logo. Circular arrow feeding back on itself. 2 arrows form a Mobius strip. Don't like that. Code Forge aesthetic. Hammer striking a glowing code block, stylized. Or could be interesting. Minimalist, a single bold glyph like with a twist. Don't like that. Meta generator creature. Let's try 1 and 4. Generate options 1 and 4. There you go. I realized I wasn't explicit, and I'm wondering if it's about to put them both in the same image. It would not surprise me if it did that. Okay. That one there is okay. I'm not sure I like the rest of them, and I kind of want a more flat look to the logo rather than this glowing color. Honestly, this one down here, this minimalist gear icon, kind of like that. Since I can only generate 1 image per turn, I've created option 1. Yes. Now do option 4. Oh, it says generate 4. Generate 4. Let's see what 4 comes back with. I do kind of like this thing here, though I would like the sharp symbol not, looking like AI crap. But that does give at least this idea of maybe we do the sharp with a gear. Yeah, yuck. We don't like this. Okay. Let's see. Back to option 1. Like this one Best riff on this. There. Blueprint variant. I like the idea of 3. Don't like that. I like option 3. Generate it. Make the image, you moron. Let's see what he comes up with. I like the look of this. Ooh, I like how it put the XML logo in the middle. You want to put this direction further. I can explore variants like a desert, special wire, swapping. Yeah. Generate with the symbol switched to a lambda. Do that. No. It'll look cleaner in the gallery and adapt to both length and things. Yes, that's what I wanted in the first place. Let's go ahead and generate that now. Generate the image. I'm also laughing because I know it really, like, I don't think it's going to generate with a transparent background no matter what it says. I have had absolutely atrocious luck with it doing any transparency. It really, really struggles with that concept. And it could be that the Windows Copilot client just strips it when it downloads the file or something. What scares me is sometimes I've downloaded it and what it's done is it's generated the background as the checkerboard. It's like, dang nabbit, that is not what I wanted. Yeah, that'll work. Gimme. Gimme. Gimme, gimme, gimme. You get icon, and then I cut, and I, let's see, click out, Alt O, and then where is it expecting that to be? So it is here. Why did it not pick up that icon, I guess, is the next question. So I'm going to put mine in place of that. It should go there, replace. Try again. Are you holding it? Are you holding it? Who is holding on to this file? Let me delete you and replace it. Cut. Paste. Place. Who the heck is holding this open? What did I open? I'm sure I've opened it somewhere, and I've left something open that's referencing it. I'm gonna start killing things until I find it. Let's see. Close you. Close you. Close you. Close you. One of you. Try again. Can I delete you? Hold on. In .NET host. Okay. Well, guess what, .NET host? You're getting torched. End task. Oh. It did leave a running. I bet you it left it running Okay, try again. There we go. Okay. Cut, paste, go back here. And hopefully, I think the Kraken remembers my, yes, it does. Okay, let's pack this sucker. Okay, so it is failing. But what is failing exactly? Let's see. Oh, .NET build C release. I'm thinking, oh, turns out if you don't spell .NET properly, it doesn't work. I am wondering if maybe it just didn't have the thing copied because I haven't built release before. Nope. Okay. Failed with one error. Icon file size must not exceed 1 megabyte. Oh, so you're just unhappy that it's big now. Okay. So let's open with paint.net. Then one of the simplest things we're going to do is we're just going to crop this sucker down. I am wondering if this is if it is actually transparent or if it has just generated the blocks onto it. View large icons. No, it did actually generate transparent. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay, so did that drop our size down? Yeah, that should have fixed one of the problems. Probably won't fix the other two. Okay. Okay, so sample app is trying to compile and build. So we need to just tell it to stop trying to do that with sample app. Close material design down. So let's open Visual Studio back up. Easiest way to turn that off because we are packing at the root level is to just set is packable false in the stuff that we do not intend to pack. So is packable false. That will get rid of that. And I think we can get rid of these now. And I believe that will handle those two. And now that hopefully packs and builds. Okay, great. We are now packing and building. That part is good. Let's open up the NuGet package and see if it contains what I expect. So it exists and has the needful there. That is what I would like. Okay, good, 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 good. That exists there. That exists there. Everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. Okay, cool. So we are going to take all of these changes. We're going to amend the version. And then because I know we are about to run into some light problems, let me check my action runs. So these are dependabot. Why did none of my other actions run? Oh. Oh, I see it. I think my template is geared around the idea of the main branch being called main, not master. So let's go here. We just pushed. If we change the default branch to main, rename branch, do that. Okay. Branches will be renamed to main shortly. Refresh, refresh. Okay, so that just means that now I have to fetch here. And now grab this. And now once I get rid of my local one, problem solved. I don't know that that's going to trigger an action flow. Oh, look at that. It did. Okay, so that's a step in the right direction. Could not, because the specified command .NET restore configuration release could not execute because the specified command or file was not found. Uh-huh. Hmm? Something tells me that wasn't quite right. So let's go here. So now that we're actually running, I'm just going to kick it off because I have to believe some of that could be around weird timing. But I expect that we can get this thing to build and publish. Because once we have it publishing and getting that out, then we'll get it rocking and rolling. Because this is oftentimes where I find people spend all of their time focused on trying to build the library out first, and I think getting it publishing first is more important. Oh, it's because I can't spell restore. I hope I didn't do that on my template. Restore. Okay, so that is better. Turns out spelling is important. Thank you. Okay, so that goes there. That should kick it off. We should get it rolling. And while that's thinking about its life and assorted things, I'm going to NuGet.org. I'm going to get myself signed in to my NuGet account, and we are going to set up this guy with trusted publishing. Okay. So for people who have not seen this before, we're going to come across here. So here, trusted publishing, and then I'm going to go create policy name, and I usually name these in line with my package. I'm going to call it Kaboo dot. Actually, maybe I'll just drop the Kaboo. Source Weaver, select an owner. It's going to be this. Repository owner is the first part here. Repository is going to be Kaboo Source Weaver. This is also why I renamed the repo early, because I knew if it was going to be problematic, it was going to be here. And then we need the name of the file from our workflows. If we go here, it's going to be this file name here, what we care about. We're going to slap that in. We don't need to do anything else. Create. That should allow it to start publishing now, as long as it comes there. Okay, so what did we fail on now? We didn't get real far. .NET restore. Unknown switch. Does configuration not exist on restore? Am I just an idiot? Let's go here. .NET. Does configuration really not exist? I thought it was required, but maybe I'm an idiot. Okay, so that really does not exist. Okay, so I'm kind of worried I have that in my template. So let's jump over here real quick, because I just want to make sure I have not done that exact mistake here, because I generated from that. Oh, look at that. I have the typo there, and I have that there. So, but actually, I want to do this, and I want to search my repository for it, because I probably have duplicated this in a number of places. Let's see. That's a pack, not a restore. The pack, test, publish. So the rest of them are fine. It's just this one that I messed it up with. Okay. So it's just that one that I made the mistake on. So that's fine. We're gonna fix that in the template. And then I think actually maybe we should just publish a version of this with the fix, because that's kind of a big deal in my mind to get it out the door. So we go here and I just rev this to a 0.3 and we full send it, and that will get that out the door. I am wondering, I don't need that branch anymore. I do wonder if I should get my Dependabot one merged first. Probably. Doesn't, it's actually only fixing the top level one, so I don't care as much. Okay, so send that, get that going. Okay, back to what we care about. So close that guy down, this guy down, and we are here. We know that this doesn't exist, so we're going to just do that. Clean that up, and we are off to the races. And we'll send on that guy. There. Okay. Now, run. Run, my little minion. Because it should not be hard to build and publish a NuGet package. That's why I've built my templates, is so that this process can be easy. Clearly, this package has not been well tested, and if anybody's seen it, nobody's reported it. I feel like I've built a NuGet package from it recently. I feel like I've built something from it, and maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe like, it's possible. Yep. Well, 33 seconds. .NET test. Oh, we probably have 0 test ran. That's because 0 tests exist. Okay. We should probably have something in place here. Let's do, so add class, because this is, let me just confirm, this is set up with T in it, right? Yeah, good. Good. Indenting string builder tests. Okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. That. Go here. We're gonna go test. Let's see. Let's see. Insert that. There. Thank you, Copilot. Let's see. Indenting string builder. We don't expose. We should expose the indent count. There's no reason not to. Indent count. Indent amount. Hey, Society Dog, welcome in. Welcome in. We are trying to get one of my new libraries published as a NuGet package. Can't decide what I want to call this sucker. Indent count's gonna work. Nope. Hey, Copilot, come back. Try again. That builder dot indent count is equal to 0. There you go. Okay, Copilot, impress me. There. What is your problem here? Oh. Wait. This needs to be async task. Now, there. Okay. So let's just make sure that what it did made sense. Maybe this sucker. Let's see here. So 0, indent, increments to 1, indent again, increments to 2, outdents to 1, outdents to 0. Great. Okay. It is a small test. It is a low value test, but it is a test nonetheless. Just the same. Commit, push, and then I am realizing I need to add my NuGet ID. Where is my workflow build and deploy? So for the trusted publishing, I need it to be secrets under NuGet user. So we will go here, we will go settings, we will go down to secrets and variables, we will go actions, I will go new repository secret. I will drag this off of my screen for reasons that are hopefully obvious to everybody. I will do the needful. I will add the secret. The secret now exists. That should be needed. Let's see. Joking. I'm trying out VS Code to use the Contuni Dev, but it's been uphill to set up versus Visual Studio. Any tips when I'm C# WPF, some of the same features as Visual Studio? Ooh. So there's going to be a couple things you are going to struggle with a little bit, specifically on the WPF front. I don't think there is actually a good LSP for XAML. I could be wrong. Let me just look real quick. If you do not have, trust the authors. If you do not have the what is it, C# Dev Kit, this is the prime extension that you want to get from Microsoft. At a minimum, it gives support for like solution files. Yeah, okay. I don't believe there is any good. Yeah. Specifically for WPF is going to be one of the wacky ones. So the dev kit comes with some level of support around like the Maui stuff to be able to add it in, but WPF, because of its age, I mean, I'm seeing a couple third-party ones that there you may not find a lot there. So I can't build and run my app to test. You can. What you won't get inside a WPF is, so for example, like if I take the material design one and I do the demo and I just open up, say, my cards.xaml, right? I'm not going to get the nice IntelliSense syntax highlighting stuff that I would get inside of Visual Studio. That's what I mean by there's no language server around it, which is kind of the crux of the issue. You could probably, one of the other extensions, even the one for Maui, might work to give you better syntax highlighting, because the syntax between old WPF XAML and newer Maui or even Uno or otherwise is similar. It's just that WPF is on the 2006, and I believe all of the newer ones are on the 2009 one. So they will have things like X-binds and otherwise. But, and I have not tried this, so take this with a grain of salt, you might be able to run one of those extensions, and just because they will match on XAML files, you can get probably better syntax highlighting, but you're not going to get the IntelliSense inside of XAML for a WPF one. As far as running it, because you can, oh, thank you for the follow, Baco, IMPW. For running it, you can still run it because VS Code will do like your .NET runs. Baki, thank you. And thank you for the follow. You can still launch it and get that running, and the C# Dev Kit will do the wiring up for hooking up like the debugger into your running C#. But that's about as much as you're going to get. You're going to be lacking in that little black bar that shows up now from Visual Studio. I'm trying to remember what it's called, with like the the live visual tree interaction, you won't get that. But you can always, .NET run, .NET build, that kind of stuff straight from VS Code, and you'll be perfectly fine there. The only other thing, and it's probably goes without saying, but some people forget. Am I also right that I can't get live share working? Live share should be possible from both, because it's been a couple months since I've done it, but I used to use it quite a bit with one of my team members, and he was VS Code. Yeah, I'll grab my extensions for you, Baki, in just a second. Can't install it on Visual Studio 2026. Really? Just check here. We will grab. Actually, we'll kill two birds with one stone. Let's see. Really? Has it been since November that I've used live share? That is. I was not aware of that. Not supported anymore. Really? Let me that who owns this? This surprises me that it is, and I wonder if because it was kind of a lower experience, like it never was a great experience, because whoever was the remote person kind of got a dummied down version. They open source, well, no, they didn't open source it. This is just a feedback repo. Interesting. Interesting. I did not realize this. I will. There's I have there's a call as an MVP I get to join. Normally it would be every month, but I think we're skipping this next month. Where I get to meet with the Visual Studio team. I will ask about this because I'm surprised to hear. Yeah, I thought it went native, but no. Any other way to run Visual Studio and VS on the same project updating? Nothing beyond just pointing them both at the same directory. You will get them occasionally fighting with each other, which is kind of obnoxious. But there's not like I open up VS and VS Code on the same repository just from my GitKraken instance. Yeah, I was not aware that live share was functionally deprecated. Modifications would mean, oh great. One agent side, one running a local model. Yeah, so the one thing that I've done differently is I've been favoring delegating my agents into their own work trees and then merging those changes back in as I'm ready for them, even locally. Well, so Izzy, I would have told you yes, but that's why I popped this open to look for live share. Oh, wait. Install live share. Individual component. Hang on. Maybe it does it. Oh, they bundled it inside the Visual Studio installer. Oh. Oh, you're right. They did take it from the extensions and actually bundled it straight in. Okay, so from the Visual Studio Installer Society, dog, you should find it in there. You should find it there, and then be able to turn it on. Yeah, points to you, Izzy. Okay, Boki, you were asking about what option or what extensions I have. So this is going to be a Mads Christensen show and tell, basically, because he builds a lot of things. So um, it just solved my week's problem. So one, I run font sizer, but I don't know that this is one I generally recommend for people. It's the reason my Visual Studio fonts look a little bigger than normal. Just because I do presenting, streaming, etc., I just always bump my native element fonts up. You can do the same thing if you go into the font settings and change all of the individual ones. This just makes it easy to hit them all in one shot. This one is actually kind of a clever one from Mads Christensen. So Keyboard Hero for Visual Studio is it watches which keyboard shortcuts you use, and then tries to hint to you what commands or what things you are missing out on by not using shortcuts, right? So without using shortcut keys. So anything that you're doing that isn't being done on a shortcut key, it can kind of start to teach you what those shortcut keys are, which is kind of a clever one to go through and do. Some of these I'm going to skip because I didn't intentionally install them. They just came along for the ride. Um, the NuGet MCP, this one is somewhat critical if you are having your agent rev your NuGet packages. It also exists out on the MCP marketplace on NuGet as well now. So that one's cool. Single project MSIX packaging. This one I installed mostly so that I could see how it worked, as far as doing Velopack work, but Velopac's cool. Yeah, they have a ton of shortcuts, 100%. Solution colors. This is one that I've liked because of agents and work trees. And when I have like 3 instances of Visual Studio up, all at different work trees, it gets really obnoxious to try to keep track of which one's where. Um, so this just gives you a way of setting a border color and an icon on your Visual Studio instance to keep track of them. That's it. It's just prettiness. Let's see. If you're looking into local LM on Visual Studio, I have great fun with LM local chat. I can't do agent yet, but very strong and help for coding. Oh, that's good. You may be getting some help. Um, so one of the things that dropped very recently, and this may not be obvious, they have agent and agent preview. And the difference is agent preview here is using the Copilot SDK. So it's the same underlying SDK as what the GitHub Copilot app and GitHub CLI are using. Ultimately, it's where all of their Copilots are going to be built from. Because when they first launched, every platform built their own client, and we had this massive divergence of functionality between VS Code and Visual Studio and the CLI and the GitHub app and all that jazz. So they're trying to fix that by getting everybody to standardize on the SDK. They'll still build, like, Visual Studio is going to have its own like debugger agent still. That's not going away because that's very ingrained into VS. But then it means there will be a common Copilot experience with each client bolting on functionality that makes sense to them, which is a lot better. So like the profiler one, that's not going to come to VS Code because the profiler is a Visual Studio tool. So to have that tool, you use it here. So this one is coming, and I think it'll probably help because some of those things around being able to do local and bring your own key, I think are going to start to show up so that we stop having these, oh, you can do it in this Copilot, but not this Copilot. That's kind of dumb. So they're trying to get everybody to standardize. Getting 500 error on the model. Yeah, there's the bring your own key situation is lacking at best at the moment. So it is something that is being worked on a lot more, and has gotten a little bit more priority after all of the pricing changes and whatnot. Let's see, what else on here have I actually used? Oh, and then obviously the most important one, Visual Studio Pets, so that you too can have a ducky and a kitty walking back and forth along the bottom of your Visual Studio instance. This has no bearing aside from morale. That's it. Because sometimes you just want the kitty to chase a ball. That's it. Yeah, no, there's a lot of, I would say the one thing you can count on Microsoft to be doing right now is investing very heavily in all things that have the word Copilot in them. So they are revving very rapidly, and the bring your own key stuff is actually important to them for a lot of related ones. Oh, Hessen, no XAML styler. Oh, not on this one yet. Thank you, thank you. Um, no, because this is a new Visual Studio. I was downloading and reinstalling Visual Studio recently. I technically have access to Microsoft. So you see, so I'm running Insiders now. So there's, what do they call it? Production, release, whatever the main one is. But then they have an Insiders channel for people who like to update once a week. But I also got access to their Canary channel, which is for people who like to update every bloody day. um, so like this is really basically you can at least for most people, the insiders versus the production one is really picking what level of stability do you want versus how fast do you want new features, right? And I find that the insiders builds are stable enough for daily work. There's occasionally bugs that get through, but most of the time, because the Canary builds are what most of like Microsoft runs on. So for a bug to make it to the insiders build, it means it made it through that first Canary ring to the insiders ring and then made it to me. So, and sometimes, often the bugs that sneak through are the ones where, like most Microsoft teams, all kind of work the same way. And the bugs that make it through, I find, are ones that don't affect that flow of work that they're doing, where, because Insiders is kind of the first time where they turn it loose into the public wild, and well, their end users work very differently than Microsoft engineers, and so you find a new category of bugs that maybe you didn't see before. So, but like I said, I find the Insider stuff stable enough to do daily work on. I don't remember the last time I wasn't on at least Insiders. I was going to show off Canary tonight, but every time I launch Canary, for some reason, it's hanging and crashing. So I'm going to wait till an update tomorrow and hopefully it goes away. So, yay. The joys of being on, like, having early builds. But I think I'm going to keep Canary and Insiders because my understanding is that Canary does break more than the other ones. And I'm like, yeah, I still have to work at the end of the day, so I will use Canary as long as it's stable enough, and when it doesn't, I'll just switch back to Insiders. Because that is the nice part of, you can have, because the Visual Studio installs are independent of each other, you can have Prod and Insider sitting side by side and fall back to one or the other, which is pretty cool. I think I just got an email saying that my NuGet package published. No, it was my .NET templates package that published. So, anywhere you have a list of all of this stuff. Ooh, that's a good question. No, I don't. Well, let me look. Let me look. So I do have this, but this is not really the same thing per se. This is more when Kevin gets a new machine, what are all the things I immediately go and install right out the gate? Because this is like my go-to, like these are my go-to tools. Cutie, welcome. Go to bed. Um, but yeah, these are everything that I install by default just on a new machine. But you're right, I should. Yes, Cutie is tired, and for some reason, like unlike you, I have now consumed my third Mountain Dew. I have sugar. I can run for a little while. At least I feel like I can run for a while. I'm indeed very tired. Yes, get some sleep. It's okay. But thank you for stopping in. I always appreciate it. But yeah, I should go through and add in extensions and plugins and otherwise to this. I will add a note to myself to do that because that is go add plugins. So, but I do have, like I said, I have this in here for what it's worth, and I was going to set up a WinGit. Oh, what is their config file called? Because they have a desired state configuration thing for WinGit where you can feed it the config and it laying down right now. Oh dear heavens. I don't know that my voice is the best one to fall asleep to, but if you don't mind the nightmares, wait a minute. Did I actually build a WinGit file? And by I, did Copilot build me a WinGit? Oh, it did. That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. I had told my Copilot to build me this file. Did not realize I committed it. So do with that what you will. Your voice put me to sleep last week. I am going to take that as the compliment I'm assuming it was intended as, and not how it feels. I am so good I can put people to sleep. That's usually what I'm going for when I'm talking. That's fun. It is the best compliment. Well, thank you very much. Okay, where did we build and we failed somewhere along the line? Very soothing. Oh boy. Maybe I should record myself. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we actually did get past our build. It's morning here. My old dog had a hard night, so she made a fuss all night. So I think it will be a long day, but now she's finally sleeping. Yeah. The unfortunate part with the dog doing that is the dog then gets to sleep, and the rest of us usually then have to do things like work, which is unfortunate. So far, my new puppy has not woken us up earlier than 7 a.m. Almost 16 years old. Ooh, that is definitely on the old side for the dog. What type of dog is it, Society? Society dog? Oh boy. Really, that was an interesting way to do it. Let's see. Artifact not found, NuGet. The question is, did we upload an artifact? No files were found. So did .NET Pat create one? It did create them. Let's see. So this looked in user share.net NuGet. This generated them underneath user share.net NuGet, but nested not from the root. Spanish Greyhound. Galgo. Let's see here. Oh. Something like that. I like that kind of coloring. That's it's very similar to the plot hound that my dog is part. Let's see. Because the plot hound, something like that. I guess that's not quite the same. But yeah. They come in all colors, very old race. Like a 4,000-year-old dog race. Wow. Well, hopefully the next night she actually sleeps better for you. Okay, why have I packed myself? I don't know why I'm going to environment. So I think the issue is I have this dot here, which is ending up saying current directory / which is almost assuredly a bug, one that I'm now wondering if it exists in my template as well, because that would be exciting. And this is just downloading the NuGet, so it really is a question of, I think the entire bug is probably that period right there. But I'm kind of wondering why I'm doing it to the .NET root directory rather than somewhere else. Kind of thinking I don't want to do it somewhere else. I kind of think I just want to do it here. It seems weird that I put it into the .NET root directory. I don't know why I did that. Ask Kevin was an idiot. Open recent .NET templates. I just want to check and see if that is something I did or something that my template did on my behalf, because it's possible both. Let's see. Yeah, see, the bug exists there too. Oh yeah, I'm batting 1,000 here tonight. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna wait and see. That's okay. We all get old and make a fuss at that point, I think. That is true. That is very true. Okay, so let's go here, here, and generate. Update NuGet and artifact. There we go. Boom. And now, with any luck, it works. Come on. Publish, publish, publish. That way I can go and add more features to this and then eventually get it to a 1.0. Because I secretly have a devious intention of using it in my day job. I'm not old. I'm just specially matured. Nice, Izzy. Nice. Yeah, I was realizing the other day we finally had my entire team in the same room for one of our like a good cheese. My entire team was in the same room for a planning meeting. And I looked around the room. I went, "Dang nabbit! I'm the oldest one in this room. Like, when did I become the old guy in the room? Like, what? What? That doesn't. No. I was also the tallest one, but that one happens a lot. Okay, we built. Huzzah! We downloaded the package. Huzzah! We authenticated. We are pushing to NuGet. Prepare. It's going. It's going. Gone. It shipped. There we have a shipping NuGet package. Okay. Yay! Now I have to deploy yet another version of my templates to fix that bug. So we're just gonna keep deploying. Fix another typo. That way, future Kevin, when I inevitably do my next NuGet package, does not get bit by this same bug. Okay. Done. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got that going, let's investigate what we actually want to do here. Let's see. I had a Teams interview the other day. CV said 25 years experience. Pretty sure I was 25 years older than the teenager I saw on the call. Yeah. There is that thing. Like, I don't put a lot of stock in years of experience, but if you have more years of experience than you are old, I question how we acquired it. I mean, it does feel like maybe with AI we finally get that matrix. So I'm going to date myself. So for those of you youngins, The Matrix was an old movie trilogy that you should absolutely go watch. It's pretty cool. Anyway, where you get the, plug in and then next thing you know, you learn Taekwondo in 30 seconds. That would be cool. That's what I need from AI. Unfortunately, I have been told in very uncertain terms that I am not allowed to add any USB ports to my body. My wife has forbidden it. I thought it was a great idea, even if it wasn't hooked up to anything. Uh, Maybe he was thinking, let's hire Yoda so we can get his teaching. uh, Guy was actually like 35, but made me feel like a granddad. Still, so I will say this: if he was 35 with 25 years experience, that means he was coding at 10. And if he's good enough to be coding at 10, he might be a prodigy, and you may want to jump on that one. So just saying there is always that possibility. I was coding at 8. Man. In Resident Evil series, they add an AI implant in the eye so you can get example battle predictions simulations. That would be cool, and I might like it. However, there's a reason I wear glasses and not contacts. I have this irrational fear of things touching my eyeball, and like contacts are just terrifying to me. It's like thing touching my eyeball. At one point, I entertained the idea of LASIK, but it was just like laser touching eyeball. Yeah, I do not like things touching my eyeball. It just, yes, it is not a happy thing for me. So I like the idea of if it's like the Google Glass type thing, but if it's like actually in the eye, yeah, that may be a hard no for me. All my fight predicts includes me running for the hills. Oh, I love it, Izzy. I love it. Okay. Okay, so when in doubt, I always build this by going how would I generate this? Um so I want this to work. And I want it to build up the rest of this, right? So, in order to make that work, I need a was that notify property changed attribute. So I want to go here and I want to do public field class notify property changed attribute. Yep. And this guy here is going to exist. What, did I misspell something? Oh, yeah. Thank you. See, there's a good use of AI, fixing my spelling. That is a good use of it. AI glasses and TV quiz show. Free money cheat. Amen. Okay, we're going to rename this thing to just attributes because its purpose in life is going to be to hold all my little one-liners. Okay. Yeah. No, don't rename the class. Thanks. Thank you for asking and not just doing it. Okay, and then what I would like to have happen is I would like to have a generator. And let's see, and then this is going to be notify property changed generator. Boom. Notify property change generator. And this is going to be a class attribute generator. It's going to go like that. We're going to move you here. And we're just going to make I'm going to just code out what I want to work, and then I'm going to go beat it into submission. So, I wondered if maybe I shouldn't have this be called generate property. Maybe just call it generate. Do I like that better? Well, so this is going to be generation class context. That's going to exist. New prompt for Copilot. Consolidate the writing style of all my files into my common styles, but fix any of my typos. I will say, like, I will take AI fixing my typos because it does spell better than me. But that was a pretty low bar. Go take a shower, get the day started. Thanks again for solving my new problems yet again. Have a great day, rest of the day, etc. Nice weekend. Thank you, Society Dog. Have a good one. Okay. And so for this thing to work, what I really want to do is I want to do partial class context. I want class name, right? And then inside of here, I want to do I notify property changed. And then inside of the class, I want to generate the the property changed event handler. That's all I want this thing to do, is I just want that much to work. So I want that to go there. The question then is, how do I want to generate the other stuff? Well, I'm British and Copilot prefers American English. Yeah. Yeah. One of the perks of being American. It's the AI speaks my language. And color is always spelled wrong. I will say the original author of the material design in XAML library, like he's British as well, and that was actually a strong debating point, is how we spell color in the library. I eventually managed to win only by the argument of no U is how the WPF presentation core does it, so we should match that. That was the deciding fact. I think I just do this, and this works, right? So it's not going to be add class member, add namespace member, because I kind of want it to be generated into the namespace. Like I'm trying to make these add methods indicative of, I'm going to generate this section and you build stuff around it. I think we're going to do that. And then I think we're going to duplicate this. Copy, paste. We're going to go here and we're going to do class attribute generator. Go here. We're going to go class. What did we end up calling that thing? Can't call it generate property. I'm thinking I just want to call it generate. Feels like that would work better than calling everything like generate property or otherwise. Maybe we'll go here and we'll change this one too. Because these are just abstract bases. And wait, generate has a conflict. What? Huh? Don't understand what has happened. Okay, so class generation context is a conflict, property generation conflict. Okay, so those are only conflicts because I did not put them in their own file. And so when I duplicated, I got more than what I wanted. Okay, so let's get you guys out into your own files to start with. And why is generate not valid here? Okay. Okay, so that fixes that. Now the class attribute one, now we just have to implement. So if target symbol is is it type symbol? I think it's type symbol. I think it just goes like that. Boy, Copilot's on point tonight. Okay, and then this is not property context. So class infos, class declaration syntax. You want to fix this too? Thanks. Keep going. I don't think members is the right name that we want here. And then I don't think we want this bit here. Because I do want to generate the namespace, indent, write the thingies. Is class name what I want here? I'm almost wondering if I want to have my generators have some sort of, because the issue here is that if anything else generates with the same name, it's going to conflict. And it seems like what I probably want is something in my generators that fixes that. And actually, we could do attribute name. That's actually probably a good way of doing this. So if we do this, and then we go attribute dot name, because then it only is a conflict if two attributes have the same name, and at that point you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. That's probably good enough, but it does feel like I'm going to need to give myself something like that elsewhere. Let me look at the property one because I might do this something similar down there. Property name. I'm going to do this and add that on there. Great. That should work. Okay, and then this becomes class context. I think this is fine. And the only reason I say that is these have add class member. And I think I want to rename this to class member. I don't need that. We can rename this here to class members, something of that nature. And because I think I want to do the same thing up at the next level. Yeah. Okay, Copilot, impress me. Write the rest of it. Infer what I wanted. Here's your hint. Public. Oh. And the next one. Can you get it? Here's your hint. Public. There you go. Now you're wrong, but you tried. You tried, and that's what counts. Namespace members, and we're going to go here and go namespace members. That'll generate. Okay, so that builds that. That builds that. We get this guy coming through. We get our namespace. We do all the needful. That generates. And so now property change generator has that. And our class attribute generator does the needful, does the indentations. And so the big question, does it work? It is thinking. Oh, notify. No reference exception. Excellent. I was worried it would be simple. Now the question is, where did it throw a no reference exception? For that, debugger launch. There. Now, we will be very explicit about the order we're going to build in, because we're probably about to get spammed. Incoming debugger windows. There we go. There's the first one. Okay. So, we are going to start here. And we are going to hang for a very long period of time. Hopefully not that long. Hoping. Come on, come back to me. Come back to me. I may end up having to torch and reinstall my Visual Studio again. I feel like I botched something in my uninstalls and reinstalls. It may be time to just wipe the machine and start over. Ooh, what are we doing? Why are we thinking and hanging so much? What are we doing here, Visual Studio? efficiency mode. I don't know what efficiency mode is, but let's not do that anymore. But not efficient. We want to be fast. Okay. You launch. Try this one more time because it would be really, really, really helpful to know where the exception occurred at. Okay, debugger launch, and if I do this, does it run to breakpoint or does it just hang and not want to be a debugger anymore? Wow, you really, really don't like me. .NET -- list SDKs. We're gonna just check real quick. Is this a 400 preview issue? Might dial it back down and see if it's an SDK problem. This level of hanging is kind of ridiculous. Ooh. Okay. Well, that's not helpful. Yeah, because it's just straight hung, and it doesn't even acknowledge anything. No CPU time, no change in memory. It's just hanging out. What the heck? What are you waiting on, Visual Studio? What are you waiting on? I'm just scrolling through looking at what is running and seeing if there's anything that it jumps out at me, but it really doesn't. Especially not as the... Oh, there is a bunch of MS build processes running. I'm wondering if one of those is potentially a culprit. Pulling them off didn't do anything. It doesn't appear. There's one more. Die. I don't see anything that immediately jumps out at me as this is the problem. Okay, so that's gonna be an issue. Got to do this with that Sans debugger, apparently. Okay, well, if it were easy, anyone could do it. So we will go here, we will go here, go here, and we will go edit this file, and we're just gonna strip that little file out real quick. Then we'll relaunch. Try this one more time, this time with feeling. Maybe a little bit less of the scary hatred stuff. Cancel that, rebuild this project so that to get the debugger launch out of there. Okay, so now we're going to rebuild here. Let's see what we got. Succeeded. I'm sorry, what? Was this the one that had threw the no ref when the thing was running? Ah, this one threw the no ref. Ah. So you threw it, but that could still be in the base class of going through and implementing this. Let's take a quick gander here. If we do sharplabs.io, paste this in. Oh, I didn't grab the whole file, did I? Oh, missed it. Missed it by that much. And then rather than IL, I want to see the syntax tree. Okay. So class declaration is what I am after. Because I'm not thinking that it's type that is actually what we are looking for. Because before it was property declaration. So I'm guessing what's happening is I'm getting bit here with a default return. That where should have caught it. I would have expected. Target symbol. That feels like it should be right. Get attribute full name. Well, we can sort of do this, and we can somewhat test it by virtue of knowing where we hit. Build. Build. Rebuild. No reference exception. Generate on class context. Would this be a problem if there are none? I would assume that if there are none returned from the iterator, that this doesn't get invoked. That would be my assumption. Let's see. Diagnostic severity. Let's go with error. Should probably give myself a cleaner API for doing this thing as well. Then we will rebuild this guy. Thinking. It was too much to ask for this thing to just work. Did not output there, so it must be hitting up higher. We're going to grab this. Go up here. I'm going to go here. This guy must be throwing early because I don't think I'm going to have a report diagnostics here because this is all about just gathering the data and not reporting back on it. So how do I find where the null reference is? Because it's not type symbol. We know that one can't be null. Context should never be null. That's a struct, so it can't be. Let's see, containing type could be null. Returns null if the symbol is not contained within a type. Ah, that could easily be that could be doing it. Let's see if that was it. Though if that was the case, I'm curious what the I mean, it's possible, but I'm then just confused as to what the target symbol was if that's the case. So rebuild. Cannot outdent. The indent count is already 0. So namespace. Oh, because I double outdented. Okay. Debug source generate. Yeah, Wixer, that's what we were trying. Unfortunately, my Visual Studio keeps hanging for an unknown reason. I have a suspicion it is related to my insiders build of it that I am running, but it has definitely has made my life more difficult. Okay, well, we hit our error there, so that is better. Okay, so okay, that is good. We are now actually we are getting past the problem of having this not work. We are generating a thing, so let's dump that for the moment. Actually, no, let's put this back. So what was that error? Because it should have had the information. Generating for class empty string with attribute notify. So it is not getting the class name. Oh, it's probably because containing type doesn't make any sense. Because it's not really containing type anymore. It's just type symbol. That's okay. So it's because I'm an idiot. So that's a different problem. Okay, so aside from being dumb, because my class is not contained within a class, so that is a use case I should go through and handle. That is absolutely a situation that's going to bite me. Okay, so this should have an error. Generating code for class view model. The typer namespace I notify property change could not be found. Are you missing a directory? Okay, now we are talking. So it's generating it, but it's now missing the system component model. And this is one of the areas where I think what I want to do is come back to my class context and do public void add using string using statement. Then I think I want to end up doing something very similar to what I did here, where I just want to kind of block out. I just group these together. Might be a good argument for a region. Let's see, private, read only. Yeah. I want to be clear here. Yeah, thank you, Copilot. That's what I wanted. Let's see here. So that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. Slash attribute generator. And then if class context using statements. I don't know that I care, actually. I think we can just do this blindly. I don't know that I actually want to do anything different than just that. And I might go as far as doing the same thing in my other one. And this is highlighting that I probably am getting to the point where I want to start merging some of these things together so that I have more shared code between these things. But that's why we're building them, so that I can figure out what the API shape is that I want. Okay. Izzy, have a good one. Have a good one. Don't work too hard. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun with Mini Izzy. Same time next week? Yep. Planning on doing it again. Okay, so let's look at what we generated. We have the notify property change generator. This thing did not insert the using statement. Oh, because we never added the using statement to the thing that we wanted it to do. So that would be a problem because, you know, we never added the thing. So that's, let's see. Context, add using. Ding, 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 ding. That goes there. And now I expect better from you. So if I build that, and then I build that, okay. And now we get the error we expect. So now we should be able to delete this and delete this, delete that using, and have the whole thing just work. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There is probably an argument for dealing with nullability as well. I'm going to go through and I would like to, I'm going to put a couple issues on my board just so I don't forget about them. Nullability of generated output, how to handle it, allow for it to be set at a project level because I don't want to be doing it on every single thing. New issues, handle generation when the target is a nested class. So I don't, just so I don't forget about these. Okay, that gets me there, that gets me there. That gets all of that generation. So as the old saying goes, make it work, make it right, then make it fast. This is the make it work. And then we will push. That won't actually push a NuGet package until we rev the version in the CS proj. So now that we've got the version 001 out there, it'll just kind of hang out and wait for us to rev it, which I prefer doing it that way. Okay, so now the question is probably sleep. My Mountain Dew is empty, which is a problem. Because all smart people are asleep by this hour. At least that's what I'm told. But my brain is still going just slightly on trying to collapse these things together. Because it does feel like I need a base attribute generator that exists between these two things. Probably do. I probably do because I can make a bunch of this stuff fairly generic. Because the only thing that's different is this block here. Technically this block here, but like this generate signature is different because it's going to take in a different context depending on what it's asking for. But with that, okay, we're going to do this real quick because I feel like I want to do this refactor while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so public abstract class attribute generator. T attribute. Thank you, Copilot. You've written a ton of this, and you are also completely wrong. However, you are not wrong enough to make me not want to do it. So, private protected attribute generator. So the intent here is this now locks it down so that this can only be derived from things within inside of my project. Now, this needs to not just be T attribute. I'm going to need a T context as well. And I don't think I could put a generic constraint on it, but I think I don't want to. Let's see. Protected, abstract, and then what is the output for this? I'm somewhat tempted to just pass both of these parameters in. What is that underscore? What is X here? Cancellation token. So I'm somewhat tempted to do this. Get generation context, and it's going to take in a generator attribute syntax context. Generator attribute syntax context. We're going to call it CTX for the moment. Cancellation token. That's going to go like that. And it needs to return for this thing to be happy. T context. So this guy here then boils all the way down to just get This is interesting because I want it static, but I also want it abstract. Why do I care that it's abstract or that it's static? I don't know that I care. In fact, I can probably go a step further. Just do this and pass it as a method group. The where I'm going to have to think about for a moment because I don't quite know how I want to deal with that. Maybe I do need to deal with it first. Rename this to be context infos. Do that guy there. How do I know if it's returned an empty one or not? Is not fault. Take it away with that. Not a valid pattern. I don't know if I like that either. I mean, my contexts right now are all classes. So I could constrain like that. I could do that. That solves that one. Not sure I like it because I think I want to do a struct later, but for now it'll work. Okay, register the source output. Maybe I do want to constrain it to class context because the property context derives from it. And that does give me, I don't need, actually, maybe what I want to do is not put it here, but let it write itself out. That might be better. Yes, yes. Let's move you into your own file, first of all. Let's see, namespace members. Because I'm thinking what I want to do. Class infos. Oh, wait a minute. I am editing the wrong file. Bad me. Okay. Attribute context. And I probably want to put something extra in the middle between these two. Because there is a real argument to be had that this guy should deal with its return type. Because right now it's ignoring that completely. And so the generation result is always just success. And I add that to my list. Let's add that to my list. New issues. Handle generation result. I don't forget about it. And I think what I want to do is because this early return is what I can't handle at the moment. I think what I want to do is grab the builder, attribute context, write output, something of that nature. Because what I can do here is the class attribute generator, or on the generation class output, what I can do is internal virtual write output, right? And then I can move this logic into there. And it goes like this. And now I can do this. Now I'm wondering if maybe I should break this up because I'm going to need to have derived classes of this inject at different spots. And it, like, I want to share this logic. Maybe I actually want to collapse all of these into here. And actually, maybe I want a different base class. Public class, generation, context. And maybe I actually want all of these things to live down a level. Is that what I want? Do I want that? Because if I move, because what I'm thinking I want to do, just thinking, just trying to decide if this is the API surface I want. If I move this down a level and make this generation context, then I can move my write output all the way down to there as well. And then everything has the ability to inject these members. But these members need to exist outside. And I'm wondering if maybe this write output needs to be more of like a visitor path. Do I encode some level of knowledge about C# into this thing so that it knows what to write out? I'm wondering if that would make more sense. Wondering if that would make more sense of when building this context. Because everything will need to be able to inject using statements. Because even if you're writing a property or a method, you're going to potentially need to add a using statement. That makes sense. I suspect people will want to generate these things in. Just wondering how I want to model those. Because right now I've modeled them with strings. Because if I modeled them with types, then a visitor pattern becomes a lot more interesting. Because I can literally just iterate down, top down, right? Using types go first, then a namespace type, then a class type, or then I guess then a type, and then a member type, and all the way down, and so on and so forth. And I'm just wondering if maybe that makes more sense to model it that way. Because I want my API for being able to inject these generator things in to, like, I want to keep the usage of the generators somewhat simplistic, right? And I like the idea of just being able to have these strings and having them be very, very simple. That feels nice. But I am wondering as we get these things added in if it makes more, because one of the hard parts is generating, like, on the property changed. I only, for this generator, I only want to think about what the property should look like. I don't want to think about the class and the namespace and all. It's like that just needs to match what it was. Like, I don't want to think real hard. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe I've shot myself in the foot with this. Maybe not. That might be okay. It's just add a class member. Do I want to inject all of these things up here? Because now the question is, how do I get this thing to know about the current namespace? Because then I end up pushing everything down into the base class. And I just don't like that, because part of the joy of doing this is when you're doing something on the class level, you get a type that has the class stuff. When you are doing something at the property level, you get something that has the property information on it. And I'm just not sure I want to flatten all of those up. Might have to think on this for a bit. I might have to spend some time thinking. I think we're going to spend some time thinking, because I don't know what I want the shape of this to look like. And my samples aren't giving me enough direction. Which means I probably need another use case to tie in. Probably. That's what I'm thinking. That is what I am thinking. I hate this. But this is the fun part for me, of trying to figure out what the shape of this thing should be. Like, It's the old saying, if it's easy to read, it was hard to write. Like that applies to code and books and novels and all sorts of things. So hopefully that, yeah, think on it for a bit. Hopefully things go well. Well, thank you everyone for coming and sticking around. I'm just one thing real quick before I get carried away. For everyone who wasn't here at the beginning, um, if you get a chance, go check out Kraken's new. They call it an agentic development environment. I'd call it an agent orchestrator, but each his own. Um, they've got a cool little sizzler video of all the cool stuff here, especially if you are working with multiple different um, agent providers. Like you've got your Claude, your Codex, your Cursor, your otherwise, right? Your co-pilots. So if you are looking for one here, it is a pretty slick system, especially for dealing with multiple agents so that you can have one place to just manage all of that stuff. So again, everybody's kind of attacking this problem, trying to solve it in similar-ish ways with their own slight bent on it, and they've got some cool stuff in there. So check it out. It is definitely worth your time, especially if you're already a GitKraken subscriber. You probably got their email earlier this week anyway. And with that, I will tell everybody happy coding. See everyone next time.